Hey, the number one mistake I see people making that are new in business, maybe you worked at McDonald's or Starbucks or someplace, some other W-2 job, and you ended up deciding you didn't want to work for anybody and you're going to work for yourself now. The number one mistake I see people making is not making a plan to pay your taxes. It's like you're setting yourself up to be a victim of your own success, because the more money you make, the more money you owe in taxes. So whatever metric of success you use is the metric of failure that you're creating if you're not making a plan to pay your taxes. Now you can do it a couple of different ways. You can, do like set aside 14% or 10% or whatever you feel is fair, or you can, or equivalent, or you can pay advanced taxes. Now the normal way to pay advanced taxes is to see what amount of money you made in a quarter, and then pay 10% of that in advance to the IRS and to the state, because the state's going to want money too, unless you live in one of those states where there's no income tax. And it's a killer, man, because even if you make something as little as $32,000, your tax bill is going to be like $8,000, $9,000. And a lot of people, that's a lot of money. When they first start out, they don't have that laying around. So, I mean, if you're only making that amount of money, especially if you're in someplace like Portland, Oregon, or New York, or LA, that amount of money, 30 something or 40 something $1,000 is barely surviving out there. So you're not going to have $8,000 or $9,000 laying around unless you plan for it, unless you paid it in advance or you put it into a checking account somewhere and you got it ready to pay that tax. So people handle it a number of different ways. They'll not pay it, then all of a sudden they'll be shocked that they got this tax bill. And the reason that happens is because when they were working on a W-2 job, that W-2 handled everything. You had enough withholding on that to cover whatever the tax is going to be at the end of the year. And then all of a sudden you work for yourself and realize, oh, when I was on a W-2, my employer paid half and I paid half. Now I'm working for myself and I got to pay all of it. So you're paying double. So that's where the surprise comes in, and that's the number one mistake people make. They don't plan for paying their taxes. They get behind the eight ball. They don't have all the money to pay it. Now they got a monthly payment they got to make towards their taxes, or they got to keep operating with that in the back of their mind that they owe this money and that they got to make more money, and it's like just adds to the pressure of it. And it could have been avoided if you just would have set aside as you were making it, or if you paid in advance. So anyways, that's the number one mistake that I see, and it gets people in trouble all the time. And it brings up, when I was young and in business and created the same situation for myself, which is why I got into this business to begin with. So it's difficult for me to watch people going through and doing the same mistakes that I made. And I would like to avoid that for you if I can by educating you. So if you need help with that, give me a call, 503-705-1521, or email me at maxinman@gmail. And like and subscribe to my video. I want to see how many likes I can get. All of a sudden, I'm into that.